So you live in California and you're ready to move. The cost of living here is ridiculous. But you own your home and you don't want to sell the property. So what are you going to do? Keep in mind that the values in the state of California are high for a reason, and they continue to go up for a reason. I mean, look around me. So perhaps instead of selling your home, you want to rent it out. Hi, my name is Jessica Pace. I'm a realtor here in Los Angeles County, and I wanted to talk to you guys about renting out your primary residence. Have you ever thought about working with a realtor? You're going to get more money. You're going to get a better tenant, a more vetted tenant. You're going to have a more ironclad lease agreement. And let's go through some of the tips on working with a realtor and why it's better to work with a realtor than it is to try to lease your home by yourself. When you work with a realtor to lease out your home, to lease out your primary residence and turn it into an income property, a rental, there's a lot to think about. I think one of the biggest pros of working with a realtor is having a sounding board. There's a lot of things to think about, and when you're working with a real estate professional like myself, who has experience working with renters and working with lease listings, then you are going to get all those questions answered. What sort of security deposit can I charge if my home is furnished or unfurnished, or pet deposits or pet rents? You can hear yourself talk and do it with somebody who really understands the market and understands your rights as a landlord, and the contracts, of course. There's a lot of contracts that go into renting to a tenant. Okay, so let's talk about marketing. When you work with an agent, you are going to get the best marketing, especially if you work with somebody like me. I'm a Compass agent. Compass is a luxury brand, and we pride ourselves on marketing. Most agents will pride themselves on marketing, but not all agents are created equal. When you work with an agent, you're going to have photography. It's the way to get you top dollar for your listing. If you ever go on and you see a house and it just looks terrible and the photos are upside down and sideways and there's a picture of the doorknob and you're just like, what is this? That's the difference between working with a realtor who has the marketing know-how and not working with a realtor. There's a huge disparity there, and you're going to see that when you get that rent at the end of the day. But you might not know where to put money to kind of spruce up your home so that a tenant will be attracted to that space. What's the best way to use that budget to attract a top quality tenant? With a realtor, you have access to the multiple listing service. The MLS is a professional service. This is definitely the most professional platform to view inventory. If you're looking at other platforms like Zillow and apartments.com, the MLS does feed into those other platforms. So you will see, once you do post on the MLS, you will see it go across all the platforms. But not the reverse, meaning if you list your home without a realtor on Zillow, it will not go onto the MLS. The MLS is for professional realtors, professional agents. You're gonna have a lot of people calling on your house, and do you want to be answering the phone when you're at work? You're going to get a lot of questions from potential renters that you might not have the answer to, and with a real estate agent, they can answer all the questions like, do you accept pets? What's the pet deposit? What's the pet rent? The lease agreement, the lease terms, going over the contract. These are all questions that a realtor can field for you. Take my advice. That is a big positive of working with a realtor. Another big positive is that realtors have access to the best vetting process you can possibly get. There's background checks, credit checks. We check proof of income. We check proof of funds. We call the references. So we have a very clear understanding of who we are going to present to you as a potential tenant. So at the end of the day, you'll get a packet. You'll get 2 or 3 tenants that really bubbled to the top, hopefully. If your agent has done an excellent job, you might even get a few tenants that might have to bid up against each other. You get 2 or 3 tenants who absolutely love the place. They cannot live anywhere else. And you say, hey, look, we've got this renter over here. We've got this renter over here. Do you want to bump up that price a little bit and sweeten the deal? And that happens, especially in a competitive market like Los Angeles County. That does happen. I would say that only really does happen if you're working with a realtor. When you're working with a realtor, you have access to these CAR forms, the California Association of Real Estate forms, and these forms are ironclad. They are extensive and they are designed to protect you, the housing provider, and the tenant. For example, there's going to be a bed bug disclosure, a lead paint disclosure, there's a flood hazard disclosure. There's disclosures for disclosures. Obviously, we live in California, which is a very litigious state. People are getting sued every single day, and these contracts are going to help you offset those future legal costs, if any. And personally, if I'm renting to someone in the state of California, I would want to be signing a contract with a real estate agent who has access to these lease agreements. One of the final positives of working with a real estate agent is not only do they meet the tenant and make sure that they can get in, they have the proper keys, they have the proper garage door openers, they have the proper gate openers. There is a checklist, inspection checklist, so that the tenant is very clearly signing off on the condition of the home. Is the refrigerator light turning on? Is there a squeak in the door? Is there paint chipping? The myriad of things that could be good and bad when you move into a home. This is so important because you most likely are collecting a security deposit. So with that security deposit comes a responsibility of the tenant to return the property exactly as they found it. And they've written it all out in a contract, signed it, and now you have that. So when they do move out, you can go in there and say, look, you signed here, you said this, you did not mention this broken windowsill or window or refrigerator door or whatever it is. It's all there in a contract. So what's great about working with a realtor is that from start to finish of this process, you are taken care of. So what's the bottom line? How much is it going to cost me? In the state of California, I see commissions between 4% and 6%. That's 4% to 6% of the term of the lease. Let's say your rent is $2,000 a month. You're on a 12-month lease. That's $24,000 for the year. And let's call it 5%. 5% of that will be $1,200, okay? And that, again, is split between the listing agent, me, and the tenant side, so whoever brings that tenant in. It might sound like a little bit of cost up front, but it's worth it in the end. All right, I gave you the positives of working with an agent. Now let's talk about some of the negatives. Some of the negatives of working with an agent are, there are a lot of contracts. There's just a lot of paperwork when you're working with a real estate agent, and that's all designed to protect you. I guess the top one would be the commission fee, right? If you're doing it on your own, you're not paying a commission fee. As I mentioned before, that does come back to you, and it cuts out the worry of the entire process. You are protected, and you have a professional working for you on your side, trying to get what's in your best interest. So it's a positive. If you do want to talk to me directly, please reach out. My number is going to be in the comments below. I'm happy to answer questions for you. Give me a call. There's a lot to consider, a lot to think about, and I want to be there for you. So give me a shout. My name is Jessica Pace. I'm a real estate agent in Los Angeles. Thank you.